part of the year where the highway department becomes a center of attention. And we have here the person who runs the highway department. Why don't we start with an introduction?
Hi, I'm Scott Crisafulli, the highway surveyor for the town of Milford.
I got home today and somebody stole all my leaves a week early. What that program is one of the most appreciated programs in town, but you changed it this year.
Yes, time for a change. So, as you would say, the first week, my one leaf has fallen. Please take my leaf.
You walk
So-
your 2 leaves down the end of the
Right.
driveway.
So when you're first, that's obviously an issue, and every 5 years you're first. So by town meeting allowing us in raising the funds for us to buy a third leaf vac, we're now able to change the system so you have a day rather than a week. If your route is scheduled for Monday, it's every Monday for 5 weeks. Our plan is to get through every route on that day. If not, then the following week we'll go back to your house and get your leaves. So basically, if you're scheduled for Thursday, every Thursday you got to have your leaves out, and we'll get them picked up.
And you can do it all in one day because of the extra truck?
Well, because the leaves are already down and we haven't just started, we actually haven't started yet. It is a challenge now, yes, but again, with guaranteed within 2 days we can do it. So if 2 Mondays in a row, we'll get everybody's leaves on that particular route.
Well, I mean, if you got 5 weeks, so you're going to hit me at least 2 times, if not 3?
I would say 3 to 4 times. Yeah, because I think after the first pass, the heavy leaves, we're gonna go right through it pretty quickly.
Yeah, I never knew the emotion till I got home and my mother, God rest her soul, is yelling at me, "You call that Scotty. You call that Scotty. He came 1 week early, took all our leaves. I'm not done with my leaves yet." And I was like, "No matter, he'll come back. He better come back or I go find him."
Yeah. Well, we try to use every spare minute we have to pick up leaves, whether it's your day or not. So if we went through your route on Monday and we get done at noontime, we are going to jump ahead. That doesn't mean we're going to skip the next day. We are still going to go to your route the next day. But the more leaves we can pick up every day, the quicker we can get it done.
Well, it made me feel better when you told me that you're coming back.
Mhm.
So even if my week was Monday, so I had everything geared to get everything ready by this weekend. But if I'm not 100% ready, I got another chance at it a week or 2 later.
Right, so someone asked me the questions, and it was basically, can I put a few leaves out every week? Yes, absolutely. So you don't have to rush to do your yard all at once. You can do it, every other week, whatever you want to do. And, if it's not completed in 5 weeks and we feel we got to go around again, then there will be 6 weeks. As long as it's not snowing out, we always have that extra time. The last few years we've gone 6, 7 weeks. So we'll do the same thing if we have to. That's not, it's all about the snow, basically. It starts snowing and we have to stop. No matter what we're doing, the snow is going to put a halt on it.
But now what happens if we have an early snowstorm? You're 3, 4 weeks into the project, and all of a sudden the snow comes. The leaves get covered. You can't pick them up, right?
If there's an inch on them, yeah. But if there's 4 or 5 inches, no. So that's the reasoning for not putting your leaves in the road. Because now if they're in the road and we have to plow, we're going to have a mess. You're going to have leaves piled in snow bankings, and they'll be there till next year. So,
But then what happens in the spring?
well, that hasn't really happened yet, knock on wood.
I was going to say, I mean, if I let, not intentionally, but the snow cover my leaves, and I can't get rid of them, I could be sitting on snow and leaves mixed together till spring.
Could be if you had a bad winter, yeah.
But then it melts.
Well, like anything else, we play it by ear. We don't have a solid, this is the day, this is the last day. We don't do that. We can't do that. That's not our business to do that. Our business is to get the job done. So if it ever happened that it snowed and the leaves were buried for 2 or 3 weeks, there's going to be a warm day. There's going to be a day when there's no snow. There might be a day over the winter we can go back out. The trucks can go at any time. We'd like to get the leaves up. If we said we're going to pick them up, we're going to pick them up. And if it happens to be the spring, it's going to be the spring. I hate to have to do it in the spring because it'd be a nightmare because they'd be wet and muddy and just.
Well, I was just thinking, we've got the catch basins, and if you don't get rid of the leaves,
Mhm.
when they plow, they're gonna plow right into the catch basins and fill them up.
Yeah, I mean, again, that's why it basically we ask you not to put them in the street. That's very important for that reason. The edge of the property is fine. If you have to put them in the street, make sure you do it the day we're picking them up, so we can get them off the street. We just don't want to take that chance.
I can't believe how many leaves come from the trees in my yard. I spend day after day, I bought one of these mega blowers, blowing them down, I come back 2 days later, it looks like I haven't done anything.
I was in Vernon Grove Cemetery today, and the leaves are all down. The trees are bare. They're all done already. 2 weeks. Amazing.
I got desperate, I'm aiming the blower up at the tree, trying to get the leaves to come down.
Just shake the tree. Yeah, so we do about anywhere from 8,000 to 10,000 cubic yards of leaves. That's what we pick up.
Holy,
That's a lot.
now, you pick them up in the leaf truck, and if I remember, these new leaf trucks hold 2 or 3 times more than the old ones.
Yeah, at least 2 times as much, maybe almost 3. So what happens is they grind. The old machines didn't grind them; they just blew them in whole. So when you grind them, you hold way more. So I guess you could say the trucks are 20 yards, and we keep track of every load. That's how we know cubic yards. So it's a cubic yards of ground leaves. And then the good part about the ground leaves is they decompose faster. You know, rather than try to decompose a leaf this big in little chunks, so they turn into
Surface
loam
area
much
is
quicker.
bigger.
So we made loam this year out of the compost. All the compost we've collected, whether you dump it at the leaf dump or we pick it up, the grass, the leaves, and whatever trash is in there, I guess. So we just did it last week, actually. We screened compost from 3 or 4 years ago. We spent a week screening it, and we basically screened about 8,000 cubic yards of compost loam. That's absolutely beautiful stuff.
Now, okay, so the leaves are in my yard. Truck comes by, picks them up. Then they go to
Leaf dump.
Fisk Mill, or
Yep, fist mill, the leaf dump.
and you rotate them around till they decompose.
Yeah, so what we do is we can almost get a loom product in 2 years. 3 years, it's ideal. But we every, say, 3-4 months, we flip them, we roll them, we flip them, we roll them, keep the oxygen flowing to keep the decomposition happening. So that's all it takes, really. And and we add some of the older, already decomposed material into that pile. The enzymes, I guess, help decompose the new stuff quicker. So we got it down to 2.5 years, and it's ready to be screened, which is amazing.
Now
It
you have
really is.
8,000 yards of stuff,
Loam like you wouldn't believe.
and it's good, clean loom.
It's beautiful, yes. It's a high-end loam, so you're talking, I mean, that could cost the town $25 to $30 a square yard, a cubic yard, where we, just made 8,000 yards for.
And then what do you do with it?
We use it. So we're probably gonna use some of it on the town park project. Park department's been using it all over town to repair stuff, to repair the turf on different fields. We use it at the highway, we use it on the side of the road, we do roads over. Whatever we need it for. We use it for a lot of things, a lot. Saves us a ton of money, tons.
Is the 8,000 yards enough for the town's needs?
The 8,000 yards should last between parks and highway 3 years.
Oh, wow.
Yeah, it'll last us 3 years.
Then what's the turnover rate? 8,000 now. How much will you have next year?
Depending on what we use at the town park project, we'll use maybe 1,000, a couple thousand a year. This is the most we've ever made
So
in 1 week.
normally it's a couple thousand a year.
Yeah,
But at $25 a cubic yard, that's a lot of money.
$25,000. It's a lot. So it cost us, because we had to rent a machine, an excavator to do it. It cost us about $7,000 for the week. But 8,000 yards of loam times $25, it's a lot of money. It's a lot. And it's not something you don't see the savings right away, but year to year, you don't have to pay that money to buy the material.
So you're turning it over once a year?
Oh no, you mean turning over the leaf piles? No,
Yeah.
it's every couple of months we roll them over.
And we got,
And the pile gets smaller and smaller and smaller, and then we stockpile it, and it stays in the stockpile till we screen it.
and we have machines big enough to do that?
Yeah, all our front end loaders do that stuff.
Wow.
It's a pretty good thing.
So at the end of the day, that third leaf truck was well worth it.
Absolutely.
Because I remember when you talked about it, you said you need two, and the third one is going to be our safety.
I can tell you this: the amount of loom we just made paid for that truck already. The same day we made the loom, it's paid for it. If you look at it that way, you know what I mean. It's worth buying. Absolutely. I think the leaf program, if I could expand that to more stuff like brush and chip the brush and make the same material out of the brush and stuff, that would be huge. It takes time. It takes time to get it all.
Now, are
So-
these leaf trucks going to end up being electric too, or?
I can't imagine. They run full throttle all day long. The truck itself that pulls the vacuum on it, maybe, because it crawls around all day long. But driving back and forth with a loaded truck, dumping the leaves 10, 12 times a day, it's a lot. I'm not sure electric truck could do it yet. I'm not sure.
No, I worry, because those leaf trucks, you need them for the 5 weeks or 6 weeks. So if it goes down in the middle and you have to wait 2 weeks,
Yeah, it's not easy.
so we're going to need another truck.
I'd like to have a spare one.
Well, you had a spare one. Now you're using it.
I actually still have one of the old ones. It's just very, very slow and cumbersome. So we don't really use it unless we absolutely have to.
That was the $250,000
Yeah, we
truck.
still have them, but it's barely working anymore. If we still had those two old trucks like that, we never could do this. Never. The new trucks are so much better, faster, and they just they maneuver better. They pick up the leaves twice as quick, and they carry more. So
Yeah, my biggest concern is that they're a machine. They're going to break.
they break.
And if they break during the 5 or 6 weeks, you need them.
So we try to stock the parts we know are going to break. Bearings, fans wear out quickly. And if we have to change a fan in the bearings, that's 2 days, sometimes 3 days down, which is huge. It is. Advantage right now, the leaves are so dry, they picks them up in 2 seconds. You can pick up a giant pile in under a minute. It's
And
just
you can
because it's
mulch
so
them
dry.
to little tiny pieces.
Yeah, it's like dust that flies out of the truck in all the little holes. It comes out everywhere. It's kind of funny because actually a new one went out today, and the tailgate wasn't sealed. It had a little space like that, and all the leaves are blowing out the back as quick as they could pick them up. So we had to do some adjustment on it and get it right. But
So the LEAF program looks like it's evolving.
yes, I noticed a lot of people on social media are very happy about it, the system. Because they don't have to be first and they don't have to be last. They can be every week. So very, very
People
good reviews.
complain on social media?
No, never. No.
I was going to say, if you want to know how good a program's working, is how much volume of comments you're getting on social media.
Exactly. You get it. It is funny.
Now, we had a couple big projects that got bigger.
Mhm.
Central Street. That amazed me, because if somebody asked me how many cars go on Central Street, I would have said it must be a few hundred a day.
I'm not sure, but I'd say it's 1,000 plus.
Yeah, it was like 10,000 cars a
Yeah.
day that they did the
Yeah.
counting of.
Oh yeah, is that many? I don't even know.
Well, that was the question: is can we even contemplate shutting down the Central Street extension? And when they came up with those numbers, I said, "We think Main Street is clogged now."
I know.
So what's
So-
going on? Give us a little history about the Central Street project.
So I'll start from the very beginning. So there was a time when probably over 10 years ago, when they really didn't do bridge inspections. The DOT did not come out and inspect bridges. as time went on, they started a bridge inspection program. And they started picking bridges in each town, bridges they knew of. And it used to be one or two bridges, then it was three bridges, then it was four bridges. Now, then all of a sudden, Central Street Bridge popped up 6, 7 years ago. And I'm like, oh no, they're gonna inspect that bridge. That thing is ancient. Old bridge.
Sorry to interrupt, but Central Street Bridge, except for the old timers, I think if you asked, where's the Central Street Bridge, the answer would be bridge.
Yeah, exactly.
Could you explain to us what Central
You
Street
could drive
Bridge?
over it a million times, not know it's there. So, the Charles River runs through Milford. It runs under Central Street. So the Charles River goes under it, and it's right at the highway department. It's right there at the old Archer Rubber Building. There is a bridge that is less than 20 feet wide. So that being said, we were able to get a grant to replace it. Now the bridge has basically failed its inspections. If we're to do nothing, the bridge will be shut down, and then we'll have a permanent closure, and that could take years. So we, instead of letting that happen, where we are today, we're trying to get it fixed. So yes, we will be closing the road down for construction. It will be, we're hoping, less than 4 months. We're shooting for 3, but we want it to be guaranteed less than 4. So we're gonna try to do it June through the end of September. That's our time limit. So it'll catch the end of school, it'll catch the beginning of school, which I know is tough, but there is no good time. But summer would be the ideal time. Obviously, we gotta do the construction in the summer anyways, but, so that is gonna happen. Now, we just got our bids, and we will be awarding the bid probably next week. So the project could start soon, like before winter, but the road won't be closed. We're not gonna allow the road to be closed till June. And then, this special, they gotta have certain materials on the ground. Beams for the roadway have to be built and on the ground before they shut the road down. So there's no waiting. The only waiting we're gonna have is cure times for concrete, for the deck, and for the abutments and stuff like that. So we're trying to time this out. So
Now,
it's
right
3
by the
months.
highway barn, the river runs. And we think of it as a tunnel, but it's actually a little bridge.
Yeah.
That's Central Street.
If you saw it, you wouldn't believe it. So the abutment walls, meaning each end side wall, are stone walls with no mortar, just stone walls.
Kind of like the Godfrey Brook and
Yeah, big stones, and they don't move, and they're actually undermined. If you go in there, you can reach underneath it, and I don't know how they stay up, but they do. In the middle of the river, there is granite posts holding the roadway up. Granite posts that are just sitting on another rock. There's no cement in there, no
that was
concrete.
put there 100 years ago.
Yeah. The actual, now I think at some point in time, they fixed the roadway. So basically the bridge deck was rebuilt. They put metal corrugated pipes, cut them in half, so they had 20-foot lengths, and it was a half circle. They placed them on there, lined them all up side by side, and poured concrete over them. And that's the bridge deck. I'd never seen anything like it. And it works. It works fine. But it's decaying, and the concrete's rotting away, and the pipes are rotted, and it's rough under there, very rough. But it's pretty neat to see.
How
I can say
long
that.
or how, I guess, wide is the bridge?
So the bridge is, I want to say 17 feet wide. So the span over the river is only 17 feet. It's 28 feet long from one side to the other.
So it's still a pretty substantial little bridge.
It is, absolutely. So this has been like a 5-year project so far, 5 years, and a lot of engineering. The
Now-
original design was to put basically 4-sided culvert boxes in. The idea got shot down by the DOT and the DEP, I think. They want to have a natural floor under the bridge. meaning rocks and dirt.
Instead of
and-
concrete like we do
Yeah.
the brook?
It's more of a conservation thing. So that changed it to an actual bridge with brand new abutments, everything new.
But I thought the idea of the concrete, the U shape, was that it lasts a lot longer.
Yeah, right, but it's just not what they're gonna let us design and build,
Well, I mean,
unfortunately.
if they say no, it's
Yeah.
no.
Right. And it's funny because this project started at 1.4 million. That was the original estimate. That was back in 2018, before COVID, of course. So since then, now we're up to, well, the last bid just came in at 2.5.
But that's
That's
better
a low
than,
bid.
I was gonna say, wait a minute. We allocated 1.3 something, 1.4. Then you went out for bids and everything seemed to come in at 2.9.
But don't forget, all this engineering we've paid for since 2018 is $500,000. So a lot of that money went into the engineering at this point. So when we came back to town meeting last year to raise another $1.3 million, yeah.
Or 1.7 million.
So,
It was 3 total.
yeah. So luckily, the low bid came in low enough that I think we can award it at this point. And we'll be okay. We got a bid exactly what we have for funding. And we got a bid that was $1 million above that. We only got 3 bids, which is odd. So, that's where we're at. So June, expect the bridge to be shut down. And obviously, everybody will know ahead of time. We'll have it on social media, we'll have it on the Facebook, we'll have
Now,
signs
what
up.
part of Central Street, I mean, you've got people, restaurants, activity centers. Where is it gonna be shut down?
So it'll be shut down between Depot Street and Beach Street. So you'll be able to get to, I can't think of the road, side of Draper. I mean, the old,
The old. But wait a minute. There's a restaurant there.
No.
Sorrento Room,
yeah, that's up further, that's not near
so
there.
that's not affected.
No. So you won't be able to drive from Depot Street to Beach Street.
Right.
So it'll be shut down in front of the highway department, basically.
So right where Mazzarelli's is.
Yeah, so you'll be able to get to Mazzarelli's, you'll be able to get to that next road on the left, I can't remember the name of it. Drawing a
But I
blank
mean,
here.
basically, you'll be able to get to everywhere, but it's
Can't
not
cross the bridge.
contiguous.
Right.
You're gonna have to go around to get to this side and around to get to that side.
Right.
Okay, because I know that's a concern people have is, how about the businesses there?
Yeah, again, you have to drive around the block to get there.
Yeah, at least you can get there.
Oh, yeah, you'll be able to. There's a new store right there too, across the street from Depot Street. So you'll be able to access that store.
And the highway department probably wants to be able to use its trucks to get in and out.
Yeah, well, yeah, we'll be able to get it out, that's okay. So, I mean, it's gonna be a big project. But hopefully everything goes as planned and there's no holdups and we can get it done.
Well, there's been commentary that you did it the right way, that you went out to bid, you found out that the bids were greater than the money allocated by the town.
Mhm.
So you stopped it and went back to the town, explained, I mean, there was no real choice on the increase.
Right,
Got the money allocated that you needed and now went out to bid.
right.
And that seems like something we need to, that kind of responsibility we need to ingrain in the whole town.
So, well, there used to be a time when you didn't have to worry about that. The bids, the engineer's estimates were pretty close to what it was gonna be. It's just changed a lot. And this last, like 2018 to now, a lot of stuff has changed. So prices have gone through the roof, concrete, asphalt, steel, everything's big bucks. So any estimates before, pre-COVID are not, they're just not worth anything right now. And that goes for our brook too. Same thing with the brook project, the same boat, which we
Well, let me
raised
put
money
you on
for.
the spot. If somebody asks you, why after all these years are you making us fix the bridge now?
Oh, that's pretty simple, because if we don't, it's gonna be shut down. That's that simple. DOT's telling us we have to fix it. period. They gave us a grant to do it, they gave us $500,000, it has to be done. We're on an inspection schedule of every 3 months.
Which
Typically,
is-
it's every 2 years.
Which is the worst possible cadence they
Right.
can put on us.
So at any time, if they feel that's no longer structurally safe, they're gonna shut it down. It could happen at any time.
So every 90 days, they come and look and say, okay, we'll give you 90 more days.
Yep, exactly,
So the answer is we don't have a choice. We either fix the bridge or we lose Central Street.
exactly, yeah. So, like I said, we're doing this because it's either do this now, shut the bridge down for 4 months, or shut it down permanently. And if we do that, we're not gonna have the grant, we're gonna have to raise the money, we're gonna have to go through this whole 3 years of engineering to redesign it, it's just, to get it done.
Well, the 500,000 is a lot of money that we would lose as a grant.
Mhm.
But the impact on Milford would be incredible.
Like I said, you can't imagine shutting it down 3 months, imagine shutting it down 3 years. You can't, we just can't do that. It's just not something that would be acceptable. So I guess we have to just take the pain and shut it down for 3 months and have to drive around. And yes, 10,000 cars, that's a cut through, no question. That's huge.
Now, Water Street, another project that went up very quickly in price. What is the Water Street project?
So we are replacing the brook from West Street to Water Street. So the brook winds through some backyards, crosses Church Street, and ends at Water Street. The Water Street culvert under the road is newer. We did that 20 years ago. That doesn't need to be touched. The culvert at Church Street does not need to be touched. We did that 10 or 15 years ago. But the brook itself is a mess. It's falling apart.
Fundamental question. Who owns the brook legally?
The homeowners.
So the town is taking this on, because I remember years ago we had complaints. The way you designed the brook, it would have been nicer if it made a turn or if it had special trees. And somebody didn't understand that the town has no legal responsibility to
Right.
fix that brook.
No, we don't. And obviously, the town drainage system runs in that brook. It ties in a lot of culvert crossings, and we need that brook just as much as, anyone needs it. So,
Yeah, well, plus you'd never go to somebody and say, well, Scotty, I'm glad that you saved your money and you bought your house, and here's a $200,000 bill for your part of the brook repair. You'd kill people.
it's like the Cape. You do see that at the Cape. It's with seawalls. People are getting betterment taxes because they're getting a new seawall, which is saving their house. You see that a lot. That's huge.
But that's not Milford.
No, we wouldn't do that. We don't need to.
I mean, there's no reason to bankrupt somebody.
No.
So, but the question always comes out, who owns the brook? The homeowner owns the brook, the homeowner has the responsibility, but part of being Milford, part of being a town,
Mhm.
is you take care of each other.
Right.
So, where on West Street does it start?
So at the old phone company, that big brick building?
That's on, you mean on Water Street?
Oh, Water Street, right. So West Street, I'm sorry, yeah, Callett's Funeral Home. Remember Callett's Funeral Home?
yeah.
Right there.
Didn't we do a culvert there to save somebody's
We
house?
did about 100 feet of culvert.
Because I
a long
remember
time
when
ago.
you brought me out there and it had washed away to like 3 feet away from some person's home.
The wall of the culvert is somebody's foundation. That the house is right on the brook. So we extended that from the road out about 100 feet. So we're starting at the end of that, and from there all the way to Water Street.
Now, how do you build a brook? I mean, the old way was big rocks, one on top of each other, a sediment floor, and hope that it'll last 100 years.
Now we use concrete. So this brook will have a concrete floor. But with that, we have to place rocks in the floor. So it looks like a natural floor. And that'll hold back sand and stuff like that. And you will have a natural floor after a while. But the actual floor will be concrete. They are letting us do that in the brook.
So you put the rocks there for aesthetics, or does it?
No, but it holds back material. It allows wildlife to live within that material. You know, whatever little, critters live in there, frogs and
How
salamanders.
long of a run is it from West Street to Water Street?
Good question. It's probably just short of 1,200 feet, I think.
Wow.
Yeah.
So again, pardon the naive question, but you got these concrete sections. I'm thinking like the one you put on West Street before,
Mhm.
a big U. How do you move those through people's backyard?
Well, here's the thing. This brook is going to be cast in place, so they're going to build it in place. So all we're going to do is get a concrete truck back there.
So you got a concrete pumper truck?
We have access to probably 99% of it.
Oh, wow.
Yeah, so we've got a couple construction easements we took just to do the project through properties. And then when the construction's done, we put the yards back to normal and clean it up, and we're out of there, and that's it.
Well, it's not like they have a choice. You sit there and say, okay, we need an easement to go. No, I won't give it to you. Fine, then we won't do your section, it'll flood.
Yeah.
I hate to be cold about it, but this is one thing that legally we don't have to do it. Practically, we really should. And all you're doing is get out of the way and let the town.
No one's really hassled us.
Oh, good.
I mean, they try to get back what they can to get their property back to normal. I get that. If they make a mess in your backyard, you're gonna want it cleaned up. We've had residents demand that we, put things back the way they were, and we do it. We get it done as much as we can. I mean, within the budgets, The thing that amazes me, and when I tell you that's owned, the river is owned, it's owned by the property owners. And if we could tell the property owners one thing, don't dump anything in the river, because that's part of the problem. So when you dump your grass and you dump your leaves and you dump trees in there and trash and everything that we pull out of that river, it clogs the river up. It causes headaches all over the place. It jams the river.
Wash through. There's not enough current.
So at the end of that river at Water Street, there is a huge metal grate. And any rainstorm over an inch, we have to clean that grate 3-4 times during the storm because there's so much trash and stuff piled up on it, and it blocks the river. It's not.
It's not a river. It's a brook.
Well, it turns into a river.
Well, yeah, but I'm just thinking if it was a real river, that trash would get blown through.
Right, but it's and the stuff we take out of there is people's lawn chairs, trees, tons of grass and leaves, trash bags full of brush and leaves that they throw in the river. I don't understand it. I don't know why people do that. It's constant. I'm telling you, every storm we have is we either send a backhoe and an employee out there, sometimes in the middle of the night, and the thing's almost overflowing. It is a river at that point. If someone ever fell in there, you'd be all done. So it's very dangerous.
But you can't trace it back to an individual homeowner.
No, but it's obviously someone on the river.
Tree limb, yeah, what,
brook.
20 houses?
Well, probably more than that. You got to remember, this brook runs all the way to Milford High School.
So you got 30 or 40 houses, all dumping grass trimmings, or somebody out of that group is. There's no serial numbers, no way to chase.
No, but it makes for a bad situation. Then what happens if that grate overflows on Water Street? Every single house from there down gets flooded. It's a nightmare, and it's happened. It's happened quite a bit. So what we're hoping with this project is that we are going to open it up, make it a little bigger. The walls will be a little higher. The water will flow much smoother. Because now there's rocks the size of cars in there that the water tries to get around and go over, and it flows out of the river.
So now, while you're building in place, I mean, I understood the concrete use because you could drop that in, the water just runs over it. What do you do with the water? I mean, I remember seeing pictures of Hoover Dam where they built spillways that the water went around.
Yeah.
But how do you do that if the spillway would be somebody's
Well, number one,
basement?
you want to do it when it's as dry as possible, and that's never guaranteed. But basically, you have to dam the water, and you got to pump it. So if you're working in this section, you dam it here, you pump it around past the section. Big pumps.
So you just literally manually pump the water to where you need to be working.
Yeah, past where you're working. Yeah.
Because I was trying to figure out, you can't build a spillway Because that's people's homes.
Well, go back to the bridge. That's the Charles River. We got to stop that. We have
Oh,
to stop the Charles River. Luckily, at that bridge, there's a bypass that was built. I don't even know when that was built. It was before my time. There's a bypass the size of the river that goes around the river, went around Archer Rubber, and then connected back to the river. So
Oh,
it's
really?
a working bypass. So all we really need to do is dam the water, and it'll go down the bypass. So thank
Somebody
God that's
had good
there.
ideas.
If that wasn't there, I don't know what we would do. I really don't know how to stop that water, because I've seen that come up to the top. You know, the highway department's there, and there's a wall there. I've seen it inches from the top of that wall, inches.
Well, I won't ask you a question that is your other hat, the Parks Department, but that water, I mean, how many times we've heard, why don't we do things to Pheno Field Annex? And they say, it's a 100-year floodplain.
Right.
So it shows you how much water could be there.
Yeah. I mean, if you went back in time, Pheno Field was basically a marsh.
Yeah.
It was a swamp.
What was that?
Backfilled it.
So it's the back end of Milford Pond.
Yeah, it was part of the pond. So we backfilled and put a dam in. The water's got to go somewhere. We did that back in the day. You don't do that now.
So when do you think you'll do Water Street?
I'm hoping we were supposed to go out to bid in December. That's been pushed out to January now. There's always something that happens here. It's mostly permitting now. So we're hoping to get that out to bid in January, and if the bids come in where we need them, then we will be ready to go as soon as spring hits and start the project.
But you can't do that in spring or winter. You have to wait till the end of spring, summer.
Some of it can be done. It depends on how much water is flowing. Sometimes that's dry, sometimes it's full to the top.
Yeah, but you can't count on it being
Nope.
dry.
No, well, that's up to the contractor to figure that out too, so.
Yeah, I've always wondered why you won't send a memo. It will not snow this month.
I'll send it if you want. So, social media. Let's talk about social media again for a sec. So we bought a brand new snowblower last year. When we were at the town meeting, we bought a new one. We have an older one, still runs, but now we have two, and it's much better to have two when one blows apart in the middle of the night, because it happens. But anyways, it's funny, a few people commented on social media, said, why are you buying that? It's never going to snow. You don't need that anymore. I'm like, don't say that.
What was it, 1978? I remember that big snow blower
We had two of them.
clearing Water Street.
We had two back then.
But it was amazing how much snow that thing moved.
Yeah. Oh, it's if you use that once every 5 years, it's worth every penny. It really is. We had that 115 inches of snow in, I don't know when it was. We had it in like a month and a half. That thing was out. We had one at the time. It was out every day. It widened every single street in town.
And that's the hard thing for people to understand. It's not just the amount of snow, but it's the frequency. When you have it over 4 months, 100 inches is annoying. When you have it over a month and a half,
It's tough. It's hard because we would be cleaning snow up, picking up corners, making the streets wider, and all of a sudden it starts snowing again in the middle of the night. And you're like, we haven't been home in days, and here it goes again. It was tough.
well, I remember a few years ago, the fellow, and he's very, very efficient and very dedicated, but he came to me and said, Al, we got a problem. The snow is 6 foot high on either side of your driveway. I can't plow you anymore. I said, excuse me? He goes, I go up, it goes up over my pickup and falls right behind me. We had to get a front end loader.
Yeah.
And I'm saying, okay, that's my little 400-foot driveway. That's what, 15 feet across or 10 feet across? I can't imagine what happens on major roads.
Yeah, you can't put the snow back anymore. The road gets narrower and narrower and narrower. You can't have that. So I'll tell you a funny story about that. So we had that storm that year. I think it was 112 inches in less than 4 weeks. FEMA got involved. FEMA calls us up. They got all these alerts going. You know, what do you need for help? We got all this equipment. They were taking equipment in from New York. The New York DOT had equipment in Massachusetts. They called us up. They said, what do you need? I'm like, I don't think we need anything. We got this under control. We didn't need anything. It was amazing. We sat there and said, what do we need? We have our blower working. The streets are clean. We got through the sidewalks. We had all the snow piled up. We had excavators from local contractors at our snow dump piling snow and piling snow and piling snow. The biggest snow piles I've ever seen in Milford.
Where do you pile it?
Up at the Silent Street at the leaf dump, that's also a snow dump. You have to have a certified snow dump with DEP, so that's it. You actually have to have a certified. So,
And what happens when all that snow melts?
oh, that's why it has to be certified, because there's trash and who knows what's in that
I was
snow.
gonna say.
You don't want to put that in the parking lot somewhere. So, but that was a good feeling to know that we've always had the right equipment, we had the right guys, and we got it done. We didn't need help.
How many pieces of equipment can you roll on a big storm?
Oh, geez. Well, including the outside contracted trucks, we have about 48, 50 of those.
No, but us.
Us? A rough guess, 30 pieces.
So you have 30 big truck drivers?
Trucks, front end loaders, sidewalk tractors, smaller trucks, and pickup trucks.
You know, those sidewalk tractors are the ones that are so discussed. Why do we need such a cute little... And then you sit there and say, because we have children who need to walk on
Yeah.
sidewalks.
Yeah, yeah. It's the hardest part about those is getting someone to drive them, because it's not that simple. It's not hard, but it's backbreaking. It beats your body to pieces.
I would think it's annoying because, at least if I'm driving down Congress Street, I get defined, it's so wide. Sidewalks,
You don't know what's under the sidewalks.
right.
You hit all kinds of stuff. If it gets deep enough where we put the snow blowers on them, then get ready to freeze, because you're in and out of that machine 100 times a night changing the shear pins, because you hit a newspaper. A newspaper does havoc in those things. A rolled up I shouldn't say that, I don't want to throw newspapers out, but a rolled up newspaper jams those things up so bad, you have to take them to the shop and burn the newspaper out of them.
Well, yeah, because you don't think about it, but that rolled up newspaper now is wet and frozen.
It gets
It's a
between
log.
stuff. It gets between, there's a fan inside, there's a space like that. A whole newspaper fits in there all of a sudden, and it's stuck there.
So we have 30 pieces of equipment that we can roll.
Approximately, yeah.
With
around
our
there.
own, all highway drivers or other departments?
Highway, parks, we get a couple from sewer department, we have a couple from water, and 2 from, cemetery.
So 30 pieces isn't enough.
No.
So
It's-
now
we're-
you go out
we're
and
close,
you
believe it or
get
not.
another 40, 50?
I think this year we're looking at 42 outside trucks, outside contractors. Down from like 68, I think is the max we ever had.
And these are all like pick-me-up trucks, right?
Yeah, for the most part. Couple front end loaders, couple bigger trucks, skid steers.
And you invested years ago a lot of money in tracking systems. How's that work?
So what that does is, for the outside contractors, we call them, they go right to their route. There's no pulling in the highway
Well, you
department.
used to pay them to drive half an hour each way.
Yeah, we don't do that. So the olden days, they would go down, they'd pull into the highway department, they'd go inside, talk to everybody, drink a coffee, punch in, then go to their route. Now, you don't get paid until you go to your route. You go directly to your route. As soon as you enter that, there's a name for it. But as soon as you enter that area of your route, it automatically punches you in. So now you're on the clock. And at that point, we can track you. We see when, where, how, so we get a call from 25 Purchase Street. Truck's
Nobody's
never
come
been
and
here.
plowed my road in
I
3
can
hours.
actually look on there and see how many times the truck went by.
I mean, I used to love that where the people would call and say, they haven't come all day. Seriously.
Well, we'd have to go out there and look. We have to drive all the way out there and take a look. We don't have to anymore. We can see they went by this time, and this time. And if they went by with their plow up, I don't know why they would do that, but
Yeah, they're not going to drive with their plow up.
not on their route. Why would you? So, yeah, and then it's the same thing. If they leave to go get coffee, it punches them out.
Oh.
So at the end of the day, we have a time card. If you plowed for us, we have a time card. In, out, in, out, in, out, in, out.
So,
So
you're
you-
not going to drive off your route and go to sleep.
I'm not going to say people haven't put them in mailboxes and taken off and gone to something else. I'm not saying we caught someone doing that.
Yeah, but that's intentional.
Yes.
I have no sympathy for somebody.
Yeah, no,
who's-
it's happened. We've seen it all.
Well, they say you got 99% people that do good things,
Yeah.
and You set the systems up for the
Listen,
1%.
if you're plowing for us for 12, 14 hours and you need to go take a break, go take a break. We're not going to
No.
tell you not to. I'm not going to dock you for 20 minutes to go get a coffee. Why would I do that? It's not.
Well,
We
it's
need
just
you out there
safety
plowing.
too. If I've been plowing in this intense weather for 10 hours,
Yeah.
and I want to take a 20-minute snooze,
Have you ever driven in the snow when the snow is hitting the windshield so hard it's just it like affects your vision? You can't, it messes with your head. Well, they do that all night long. I get it.
only once. I was giving a lecture in Novosibirsk, middle of Siberia, and they had the worst snowstorm. And I was in the car. It was scary.
You can't see nothing. You see snowflakes hitting you in the face.
It was like a white, it's like something you see on TV.
Hmm. Yeah, I've seen it all. We've seen snow lightning. I've seen trees get hit right aside of my truck with lightning in the middle of a snowstorm. Scared the living daylights out of you. The flash is amazing in the snow.
Talking about trucks, I hear that we're going to get all new, highly efficient electric trucks that go forever and don't cost anything.
Yeah, the new omnibus regulation
Yes.
Massachusetts has adopted. So
Help me understand, because to a layman, how many little batteries do you have to keep a truck going?
honestly, I don't have one, so I don't know, but it's a lot. So the problem, there's a lot of problems. Number one, it adds weight. So a truck that could carry 20,000 pounds, if you have 10,000 pounds worth of batteries in it, you're carrying 10,000 pounds.
No, let me just interrupt. Why would you go electric? I mean, is it, I want to be environmentally friendly? You are running a fleet. Come January, why would you choose an electric truck over
The only thing it would save you is diesel fuel, and it would save the environment. So it's 100% pollution free, I guess, carbon free.
do you have a choice?
So the new law, from what I understand, was supposed to go into effect January 1st for everybody. No diesel trucks to be bought. New diesel trucks in Massachusetts. You can't buy them in Massachusetts.
So the answer is, you don't have a choice. If that law goes into effect
Apparently,
Jan 1,
what I just heard this week is the law for municipalities has been pushed out a year.
oh great, a whole year.
Right, and that's pretty much it. So I have looked at electric trucks. I've tested an electric truck, a trash truck. We tried one just to see how electric truck works, and it works fine. But it can't do the work. It can't do the time, and it can't do the work. And we also can't get the power to charge it. We don't have that kind of power in the grid. A charging station for one electric truck, first of all, it costs about $150,000 to build
For one
for
station.
one truck. We probably could charge one, maybe two trucks. We could not charge a fleet of trucks. Never. That would take half the electricity Milford
But how
has.
long, okay, it starts snowing at midnight. You take your brand new electric truck, you start plowing. How long can that truck stay on station before it needs charged?
I'm hearing 6 hours.
That's it?
6 hours, yeah.
And then how long does it take to charge?
Depending on the charging system. The bigger, most expensive, fast, quick charge is probably a couple hours.
So I get 6 hours, not 8, out of a shift. And what do I do after that?
I don't have that answer. Yeah, I mean it's great technology. I don't care if the truck's electric. I don't care what it runs on. It doesn't matter to us as long as it can do the job. That's fine. I don't honestly. If they had an electric truck that would work 12 hours of 24 hours, then that would be great. The guys can only work so much. But your average 12-inch snowstorm is 24 to 36 hours. That's how long we in trucks plowing for. You don't shut the truck off. It never stops. Never stops working.
But that means we gotta buy more trucks.
You have to buy more trucks and almost 3 times the price. Yeah.
Wait a minute. The toys you've been buying were like $200,000-$300,000 already.
Yeah, no, it's 700,000 they start at. Yeah.
God, that's as bad as
That's
fire
I got
trucks.
a quote. I was gonna bring the quote to you guys just to be wise, but it
No,
just.
my old heart.
You want me to buy the diesel or you want me to buy the electric? 225,000 or 725,000. That's the difference in price.
Well, again, if the electric is better for the environment and everything else is the same, well, you go with what's better for the environment. But if it's
I understand
treble the
that.
cost, and And it's not 3 times the cost, because now you gotta put in charging stations at a price that scares me. And if you're only getting 6 hours, you can't tell people between 6 and 8 in the morning we're not plowing.
Right, so what's the answer? You're gonna have trucks charging, trucks working,
Right,
trucks charging,
more,
trucks
more
working.
trucks.
A lot of trucks and a bigger garage. Yeah, it's not, I wish there was a better way, but that's what's out there. And if it does happen in another year, we have to go this route, you're gonna see us most likely just fixing what we have forever until they create or design a truck that can do this and actually do it. I don't think you wanna take your Tesla truck, the new Tesla trucks, and put a snowplow on it. You'll destroy it. It will not take it. The electronics and the computers couldn't. They would never take the vibrations and the smashing of manholes and.
But now, even if you want to order one today, I was always amazed at some of the trucks you order that take 6, 9 months to get.
Mhm.
Is that still the case with these new trucks? I mean, they're
The
not off
electric
the
ones,
shelf.
I don't even know how long. I didn't even ask. That could be a year, it could be 2 years. I don't know. I don't even know. A regular diesel truck right now takes about 6 months complete.
Right.
It was for a while. There was a year, 6 months, and yeah, it's going to be interesting.
We're gonna have to start looking at. Of course, it's happening right when the school's coming online, and we need all the capital going to feed the school.
Well, think about this for a minute. Electric school buses can work. I agree with that because you only use them for 4 hours in the morning,
Right.
plug them in, 4 hours in the afternoon. That would work. There is a place for it, absolutely.
Well, I mean, there's a limit, because you turn around and say ambulances, fire trucks. You can't tell Chief Nelson, well, between 6 and 8 a.m. you can't use your fire truck because it's going to be plugged in.
Right.
There's got to be some practical.
Well, there's that one night when you might have the truck might be running all night long, and you can't just park it and plug it in. What happens when you're fighting a fire? You need pumps. You're
That's
gonna
what
have
I'm
a
saying.
diesel engine run. You can't run the pumps.
Somehow, even your equipment with the trucks to plow, you can't just say we're going to be charging them up for 2 hours, so we go from 8 trucks on duty.
Funniest
to
picture I ever saw is the electric car with the gas generator on the trunk, and the car's plugged into it.
A while back, we took on a project at the salt barn. Funny how salt in a barn corrodes it away.
Mhm.
What's
Oh,
ever
time.
happened there?
So, I really wanted to increase the size of the salt shed we have. Right now we have 2 salt sheds. I wanted to have one instead of having 2 separate. We have a wooden one. We have the old tent one. Between the 2, we're holding about probably 1,300 ton of salt. So I wanted one shed to hold it all, so we could have more room in the yard for what we need it for. And we were going to design it on the other end of the yard so we could just transfer the salt into the new shed, take the old shed down, and rebuild that end of the yard the way we need it. So we've had some issues with some of the utilities and moving poles and trying to put underground utilities. And it just was a big process that was taking too long. So
Yeah, but you just call National Grid, they're responsive, they'll do anything you need.
they were very responsive, not so much for Verizon.
Oh.
Sorry to say.
Yeah, but Verizon, what's the cable or phone?
Phone and cable. Well, yeah, phone and cable.
And that holds you up?
Mhm.
I would
Yeah.
think the electric is the big ones.
No, the electric company was great. National Grid came right out, brought their engineers out. We told them what we wanted to do. They actually designed the project for us. And really, all Verizon had to do was plug into the project, run lines through the pipes on the ground. The problem we have is we have wires running through the yard, and they're in the way. We have phone wires, electric wires running right through our yard. Got dump trucks in there, and we're always ripping them
I was
down.
going to
And
say, I would think the best thing to do is put those underground.
that's what we wanted to do. And
Wanted.
it became a big hassle. It really did. And we have to feed another building further down the street, Pinto Plumbing, so we have to make sure that we don't interrupt his services either. So it became a nightmare. I just couldn't get it done. It's a struggle. And we decided to replace what we have a little bigger. We'll still get the size shed we need, but it's going to be where the existing shed is now.
Are the wires going underground or no?
No, we're not going to do that. No, just not going to do it. It was a project, and we were gonna do it in-house as much as we could. We'd need electricians to lay the
Yeah.
pipe, and then the power company would have to run the wires. But we were gonna do all the excavation, take care of that. But it became such a big project, it was overwhelming, actually. And I don't know if we actually had it in the budget, so. At that point, with the time that Verizon was taking to help us with this and get it done, it was just, wasn't
See,
worth
that
it.
amazes me. Of all, I would have thought Mass Electric would be the tough one running electric wires.
I can't believe how easy that was. They were right on board.
But low voltage or no current telephone wires doesn't seem like it should hold up the works.
I couldn't get them to even come to the yard to look at it. So, again, I asked the questions. I went through the proper channels, tried to do it, that way, and nothing came of it. And I got sick of emailing people back and forth. And the other thing I started to realize that this thing is going to be 50 feet tall. It's going to be 80 feet wide. You're going to be driving down Depot Street, and you're going to see this giant white wall, because that's where it was going to be, up against the Depot Street side of the property. That's what we wanted to do. And I'm like, yeah, maybe that's just not the ideal
Yeah,
situation.
it wouldn't look quite right.
Yeah, so I'm like, yeah, we'll put it on the other side. So we changed the project. I actually was working on the plan today with the engineers, so we got it laid out pretty much.
Well, let's hope that this winter is like last winter. We liked the cost of moving snow.
Yeah. Well, as you know, it doesn't matter if it snows, because if we get ice, salt,
Well,
expensive salt.
the ice is just as bad or worse than snow, isn't
Yeah,
it?
it's worse, way worse. And that's what we get now, mostly ice. You don't get snowstorms, you get rain, freezing rain, slush. I call them marbles when it sleets out, because they're like little marbles. But you get that, and that just eats up salt so fast. You just constantly salting and salting and salting. So
But
once
what choice do you have?
we don't. If you get freezing rain is nonstop. You can end up with 3-4 inches of freezing rain that you eventually have to plow. But as that's happening, you got to keep it soft so you can drive on it. Otherwise, you're gonna have an ice rink.
You're gonna have people. Well, come spring, we hope that we can talk about a boring highway department winter.
Well, yeah, it doesn't matter to me. I mean,
No, I understand, but
being in the job, you kind of want to, let's get one big one. We want one big one. Give us a blizzard of 78 just once. We want to see how we handle it.
no.
It doesn't scare us. It
When you
excites
put
us.
in my mind, well, it used to be $10,000 an inch. It's probably
Oh, yeah, I remember those days? I'll let you know what it is this year. We haven't had a good snow winter to really do that.
But even at $10,000 an inch, you ruined my enjoyment of watching weather on TV, because you'll hear the weatherman say it's going to be 8 inches. I'm thinking that's 80 grand out of the budget.
Well, I'm afraid to tell you what it is now. I don't even know. You can't, when you have ice storms, it throws the whole,
Thing off.
yeah, it throws everything off.
Well, good luck.
Thank you.
Thank you for everything you guys do. And as always, to our 6 loyal viewers, get your shovels ready. We're lucky with the dedication and the amount of work that our highway department and other departments, like the people from parks who pitch in, keep our streets usable. So, as always, thanks for watching. May God bless. May tomorrow be a better than night, without snow, for a long time. Good night, all.